its Western presence.
Okay, well, let's in fact talk about this price hikes undertaken by the likes of Asian Paints. Abneesh Roy of Edelweiss Securities joins in on the phone line. Abneesh, hi, welcome to the show. Asian Paints is up around 3.5%, particularly for that stock. Do you think that some of the concerns in terms of margins, and remember that margins were one of the key parameters that disappointed in the quarter gone by, would be something that would assuage now with this price hike?
Yes, we were expecting this hike post-Diwali applicable, and that's what has happened. So this hike will be applicable from 10th and 12th November for the different paint companies. So this will not benefit the entire quarter, but my sense is the worst of the gross margin and EBITDA margin pressure is behind. Also, Q3, the premium products will sell better because of the festive season. And we expect that all other paint companies will also follow suit. Asian and Berger have already done. The quantum of hike is higher than our expectation. We were building in a gradual price hike, first with 5% and then maybe the further 5%. But at one go, Asian and Berger have taken around 9-10% price hike, which is the highest ever. So clearly, gross margin, worst of the pressure is behind in Q2, but Q3 only will see mid-quarter benefit. It will not be for the entire quarter. So we will need to keep that into context. But again, this brings back the fact that paint companies have very high pricing power, and good to see Asian Paints go for a balanced approach wherein they are focusing on profitability also and volume growth also. So this is a 4-decade high raw material inflation which the paint industry is currently seeing. So it requires very high pricing action also.
So perhaps that 4-decade raw material inflation pressure is reflective on the stock as well, right? I mean, it's fallen from 3,500, which was the peak in September, and now at around 3,000 or so. At this price, does the risk reward become favorable for Asian Paints? And what would your pecking order be in the paint stocks?
Yes, clearly the risk reward in the current stock price is far favorable than at 3,500. What will happen is now paint companies will have almost like a 15-16% weighted average hike post this hike happens, and we do expect double-digit volume growth to continue. Please note in Q3 and Q4, Asian Paint has a very high base. So on that high base also, we do expect close to double-digit volume growth to continue. Will such a sharp hike have an impact on the volume growth? I think in most cases, no. But at the lower end of the paint volume, there can be some delay by the consumer in terms of purchase. But in the mid and premium, I don't think the consumers will delay because of two reasons. One, only 40% of the paint cost is paint actually. The balance 60% is the labor manpower cost. Plus consumer normally paints once in 5 years. So he will not be monitoring prices like the way he monitors for a soap or a toothpaste. So that is also one more important thing. Also, we had highlighted that the whistleblower incident is not a major incident. So that, again, market has clearly absorbed because in the entire scheme of things, the whistleblower incident is very, very small. Plus, there are proper audit and proper third-party audit, etc., which are already there. And also, we don't see that as a major issue.
So, Abneesh, since you're not too perturbed about either the margin pressure or demand at this point in time, what is the volume growth that you've penciled in for some of these bigger paint companies for the current fiscal and also for 23? And given how heady valuations look, what's your top choice? What's your pecking order of preference?
Sure. In terms of pecking order, we continue to prefer Asian Paints the most. We have a buy on Asian Paints, so that will be easily the most preferred paint company also. So we in fact have a target price of close to 3,550. And we expect that to come in the coming quarters, in the next 2-3 quarters itself, because of very high pricing growth and volume growth. Now, coming to volume growth, if you see, even in Q2, the base was not soft. On 11% base, Asian Paints saw 34% volume growth. So essentially, very good recovery in the real estate and market share gains will continue to drive a double-digit volume growth. So in Q3, Q4, again, base is very high for Asian Paints. But we still think that in the second half, Asian Paints should be able to do a double-digit volume growth because of market share gains, because of real estate recovery. And in general, paint penetration is only 50% for the industry. So we are quite positive. Are we also positive on the industrial paints and auto paint? No, there I think pricing power is limited. So, but Asian Paint has got very little exposure. 85% of the paint demand for Asian Paint comes from deco, where the pricing power has been shown.
Oh. Okay, all right. Abneesh, thanks a lot for joining us and speaking to us. So that's their top pick at the moment, Asian Paints. All fears of margin pressures have been allayed with this big price hike, and the demand trends are also quite positive. Just wanted to mention a couple of stocks actually hitting fresh highs. SBI is at a fresh 52-week high this afternoon at 520, and it's had a really strong run. The stock has almost doubled in 2021, so it's clearly has been the year of PSU banks. But let's slip into a short break. We'll get you more on the markets and stock-specific action on the other side. Stay with us.